You already know. When it come to your dream, nigga, you gotta take the risk. Ain't no such thing as nothing without a risk. What is the cost of living your dream? I got a bow and it got me a ring. Without a mic, I would still have the same. Without the money, I still had to blame. Just know there's some risk involved. When you want it all, I'ma live evolve. I seen the legends fall, but they did it wrong. I'm too solid, y'all. Straight out the kennel, I'm raising the level. These niggas stay rich and I guess they in character. King of America, I got them demons hysterical just by the way that I'm married. I'm fire with fire, my burning desire. I came to supply all the pressure. They feeling my essence. I'm severing ties with every single lie. If I died tonight, it was only right. I just can't deny it. I can start a riot. Fuck the world, we the hearts hot. It used to eat planets, now I'm on a diet. Looking at a star in the raw, can't even walk to the plug, fly above, fuck what it was. This is what it is and what it's gotta be. This shit is in me, so there ain't no way that you can take it out of me. My shot is precise, I'm closing my eyes with a thought that I studied anatomy. Back of my hand, commit to the plan, ain't average, cause I don't know how to be. A pocket of stones, it got me the throne. I'm thanking the king, I got a dream. This is the testimony, how to make it, homie. They depending on me. What is the cost of living your dream? I got a bow and it got me a ring. Without a mic, I would still have the same. Without the money, I still had to blame. Just know there's some risk involved. When you want it all, I'ma live evolve. I seen the legends fall, but they did it wrong. I'm too solid, dog. Hey.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Dave B. And you watching DaveBeyondTV, where we go beyond that everyday bullshit that people be consuming on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can't get nowhere in life without taking risks. You know what I'm saying? It's about taking calculated risks. But part of taking a risk means you have to get up out of your comfort zone. Now, the title of the live today, because we live and direct, the title of the live is talking about the moon in Libra, sun in Cancer. Even though the moon is not in Libra yet, it's probably going to be like midday tomorrow, that the moon is finally going, because it's like, I think it's like in the later end of Virgo. I think it's like in the third decan of Virgo right now. So, you know, we still dealing with that Virgo energy that I was talking about previously. And then we're still in the, you know, we're at 19 degrees Cancer, so we're going into the third decan of Cancer, which also in the previous live I was explaining the energy of the third decan being more Piscean. It's Piscean undertones, Jupiter motivated. So this is also where you know, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So as far as an influence, this is the energy in which we need to start to embody the emotional state of what it is that we're trying to bring into our lives. You know, for a long time we've been talking about this on a spiritual tip, as far as, you know, being what you want to see, you know, putting out energy into the world and getting back what it is that you put out. You know what I'm saying? You only get back what you put out, so you have to always be mindful of your state of being. It becomes what's difficult about it is the world we in, along with the different experiences you've been through. This leads to different situations of trauma developing and all these different things. Shout out to Sunman Receipts. You said Aquarius. That's what's up. Shout out to all the Aquariuses. But it ain't about y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? It's about the Cancers and somewhat of the Libras. You say, I get, okay, I see what we doing. So for the most part, when we talk about the energies going on, you know what I'm saying? He said perception is reality. Actually, perception is not reality. Perception is your reality. But reality itself has nothing to do with your own personal perception. So let's not get that confused. You know what I'm saying? So talking about this motherfucking shit, he said space racism. Horoscopes? Nah, horoscopes is, see, when you look at traditional horoscopes, that shit is kind of bullshit. But you know, for the most part, space racism. Some people do look at astrology as racism like that, like, oh, don't talk to Geminis, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? From Tampa, I'm from ATL. Shout out to Bagwell. Yeah, so getting into these energies specifically though, well, actually no, I was cleaning up. I was talking about, he said do your best. Nah, bro, I ain't Morgan Freeman, I'm Dave B. He said tell me about Librans. So when it comes to Libra energy, that's a good segue. Shout out to Atypical. So when it comes to the moon being in Libra at the current moment, Libra is all about balance. Libra is all about relationships, relating, what it takes to relate. It's a cardinal air sign. Air meaning communication, thinking, and cardinal meaning the energy of starting something new, initiating something. So on an emotional level at the current moment in time, right, with the moon in Libra, we're going to start to feel like right now the moon is in Virgo, but as it moves into Libra, we're going to start to feel more inclined to want to start conversations about where the sun is at, which is Cancer, how we feel. And especially the moon itself being the feeler energy in Libra, we're going to start to feel maybe imbalance. So we might feel an imbalance in certain emotions. We might want to, you know, communicate in order to get that balance met. But see, this is where we might run into difficult moments or things that start to be frustrating in our present moment, because Cancer and Libra square each other. Squares represent a learning process. So we're going to have to learn how to communicate effectively about how we feel in order to create balance in our life, to make our where the moon is at currently satisfied. So that's like us being able to do our part in the current moment to manifest a better situation for us moving down the line. AKA, if you pass up this time, right, with the moon in Libra, sun in Cancer, let's say you too much in your feelings, you too much in your emotions, you too sensitive to start to come up with intelligent ways of explaining and relating how you feel to others, you will miss an opportunity to gain clarity and balance and understanding from others, and that'll end up being how you plant bad seeds moving forward, aka different things that you're trying to manifest in your life, places you're trying to go. You might not have an easy way to get to that because you missed a step during this transit. You were supposed to learn, go through the frustration and the kind of tension that it takes to learn how to communicate about, hey, this is how I feel, getting things out on the table so that you can get some balance. Because let's say you go through this energy, let's say you don't have no Libra in your chart, let's say you maybe only have water in your chart, and you're just not a big communicator or whatever the case might be, right? You might go through this transit thinking it feel more comfortable to just sit with your emotions and have them all inside. Yeah, the moon is, shout out to Jackie New, the moon still is in Virgo. I'm just kind of speaking ahead, you know. I already know tomorrow gonna be busy for me, so I'm like, let me go ahead and do the live now so y'all know what's going on as the moon slides into slides into Libra. So you know, we're gonna switch from kind of being internal, because see, the thing about the Virgo energy, and shout out to Jackie, because the thing about the moon in Virgo currently, what's currently the right thing to do is to be more internalized and figure out what's wrong with your emotional state to begin with. But as the moon slides into Libra, it's going to start to be like, okay, now it's time to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Communicate. You said shit, perfect time to plan. Shout out to Sunshine. Yep, exactly. And that's the combination between Virgo and Libra. It's like, okay, we get in the plan of what we need to do to be in a better emotional state. And then it's going to turn into us needing to communicate that, create more, and then not only communicate it, it's not going to be open communication, it's cardinal communication. So we're going to have to muster up the strength within us to actually say what it is that's on our minds, say what it is that we feel, in order so it can, you know, travel to others, relate to others. And then now we can start to create balance. We can start to see, we can gain some more understanding. We can get, you know what I'm saying, get to a better place where now everybody is understood. And keep in mind, this is the midpoint of the moon cycle, right? When I talk about moon cycles, I love to break it down into 4 quadrants, just like the seasons, right? The springtime leading up to that first square and I'm speaking of it, the first square from where the new moon started. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it'll be, the sun itself will be cuspy. So it'll be, or the full moon. Like in this case, the full moon is cuspy. I ain't gonna get too confusing. For the most part though, you know, we're at that square point where we had a new moon in Cancer. Now the moon is going to be is in Libra. So that represents that first quadrant, right? That first square for the moon cycle, which is a transition point into the summertime portion, if you will. Now, if you understand the seasons and what they represent, the springtime is where we need to make mistakes. We got to start new things. We have to be courageous and jump into that new space so that we can create an opportunity for now in the summertime to fully embody that energy. The square point of the moon cycle is a lot of times where we start to come to those emotional realizations, and that's when stuff is supposed to click so that you can start to switch yourself up and get back on track if you've been off track, or if you've been on track, go extra hard so that you can get to a satisfied point for the full moon, because that's the point. By the time the full moon hit, we want to be satisfied so that we can experience a healthy fall, aka fall back, so we don't have to overdo the energy during the full moon and create catastrophic moments. We can lean lean back and say, oh, I've manifested, planted the right seeds, and now I have fruits of my labor that I can enjoy without having to get out into the world and do too much. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to over explain myself. I don't have to over feel, over connect. I could kick back because I did the work I was supposed to do emotionally to be satisfied at this point. And then when we go to the death portion, which is that last square, before we go into, you know, before we go into the next new moon, that's when we completely shed everything that we've learned as a lesson on an emotional level. You know, everything that we manifested, we done, you know, did what we needed to do with it. And at this point, it's time to let it go and prepare ourselves to be clear for the next new moon. So that's how I like to divide up the moon cycles, because the moon cycles are so powerful. You know, I ain't gonna get too deep into that, but so right now with the moon sliding into Libra, when it finally does get into Libra, the different angles it's going to create. So that's going to be the big one, right? Squaring the sun. So we're learning how to communicate how we feel to create balance in our life, right? And if you plant the right seeds, now you're able to be more understood, which will play into when the full moon comes in Capricorn. It'll be a understanding of your status. It'll be something where people can now understand even more deeply what it is that you stand on, and where your reality lies, and what you trying to ground yourself in, and what you trying to kick as a game, and what you trying to be the boss of. You'll actually be able to maintain that position because of the relationships you built up and things of that nature, right? And then, you know, remember, the full moon's gonna be cuspy with Aquarius. So shout out to the person who just said Aquarius randomly, because you was on to something. You know what I'm saying? It might not have been the right thing at the right time, but you was on to something. So for the most part, when it comes to you know, the full moon being cuspy with Aquarius, that's gonna be also the next step. Now, the relationships, or what we've communicated at this point in time, to start to create relatable energies and balance about how we feel, and maybe even some insecurities that we have, right? Because part of being able to communicate about certain insecurities is being able to lighten yourself up, lighten the load in order to get it off your chest. You know what I'm saying? Even like the analogy with a heart as light as a feather. You know, those with heavy hearts are ones who didn't ever come up with a good way to communicate and release what it is that they feel. So they live their life in a very heavy manner, and they cause havoc in other people's life. Remember, as spirits, we're no thing. So we have to remain light. We have to always remember that we are the ones using these tools to get where we want to get and to see what we want to see. But if we don't actually, you know, remember that, and it's so easy to get lost in it based upon, like I was saying in the beginning of the live, trauma, experiences you've been through that, you know, alter your brain chemistry and shit like that. Things that you developed addictions around that give you comfort and things like that. All these different things alter who you are and make you heavier. You know what I'm saying? You said, can you make a heart, please? All right, man, okay. You know what I'm saying? People be wilding. So for the most part, so that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to this energy, it's like we have to lighten ourselves up in order to be able to communicate effectively. And then we see, now you begging, man. I don't know, all that begging, I don't do that. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So moving forward, mooning Libra, that's what we got to do at the moment. We have to start to communicate. We have to let it be known what it is that's on our heart, and we have to start to create some more clarity. You know what I'm saying? And so even if it takes you needing to meditate a bit, I seen a video clip, and it made a good point. It said, you know, when you first wake up and you start your day, a lot of people try to force themselves into the right, you know, like for instance, you got a lot of things on your to-do list. Sometimes you gotta, instead of trying to look at what you gotta do, try to see the emotional state you got to be in to do it. That way, when you approach these things, like if you spend that first part of your day actually, you know, sitting with yourself, clearing your mind and developing the thoughts and feelings that's going to motivate you towards action, that can be a lot more effective than maybe, you know, when you wake up and the first thing you're looking at is your to-do list. And so all of a sudden, now you are, you know, drained just by thinking about what you got to do instead of getting up and doing it. Sometimes you might have to reverse that, especially if maybe you're a water sign and things like that, and you have a hard time sticking to a schedule. You might be a Pisces or something like that, like me. So it might actually work in your favor more if you spent more time developing your emotional state so that you can be motivated to do the things that you need to do with your actions and stuff like that. And you won't use your emotions being as a distraction as you're trying to get your to-do list done. You know, it just might be a way of flipping how you normally might look at life into a different way that might work better for you. So I just wanted to pass that along. But you know, so yeah, so with this square right going on, that's the main square going on now. The moon in Libra is also going to be opposite Chiron in Aries. So, you know, in order to avoid mistakes, right, we have to be more open and a bit willing to communicate. You know, we have to be more open and willing to say what it is that we need to say, you know, in order for us to get to a new place. Because it's like when it comes to like the opposition between Libra and Aries, right, and Aries having Chiron in it, right, with Chiron and Aries, the mistakes come from being too self-centered, too into your own self-interest. And a lot of that energy starts to develop as distrust from others. You know what I'm saying? You start to distrust others. And so you close yourself off to any forms of healthy relating. And, you know, at this point in time, understanding this opposition, how we feel, we might not want to have those conversations that we need to have with others. So try to understand that in order to heal, is part of it is trying to get back into the mode of, you don't got to be gullible. You don't got to just trust others and just say any and everything and tell everybody your business. But it's a matter of understanding that, hey, it's time to start to open my mouth up again and communicate so that I can start to gain some balance in my life. Because you might feel like nobody really relating to you right now, especially with Cancer energy. You can kind of dig yourself so deep into an emotional hole that you start to block yourself off. You don't want to go outside. You want to be inside the home. And then again, even as a metaphor, as you as a spirit, you start to keep everything to yourself. You know what I'm saying? People around you who care about you, you don't give them the opportunity to care about you because you're not sharing who you are. You're not communicating with them. You just sitting down and, you know, kind of keep it to yourself and trying to protect yourself. And you thinking you protecting yourself, but you're not doing no real form of healing. Because at some point, yeah, it's cool to kind of have your own personal space, right? But at some point, if you really want to, you know, hide away in your room, not going to help fill emotional voids in your life. Shine away from, like, let's say you went through a heartbreak, you went through some kind of situation where you felt real insecure or you felt real hurt. Trying to run away from people, trying to not interact with other individuals, you know, people who get their heart broke, they like, I never want to fall in love again. So they start to go on this journey to avoid starting any kind of healthy relationship with anybody. But what you start to realize is that you sabotage yourself, because all of us, it's like, it's an innate nature to want to connect. Shout out to Makobi. Good evening. Good evening to you too. You know, as you can see, we got people from all across the world viewing, you know what I'm saying, just blowing up the chat. But shout out to y'all, because y'all making my shit lit. So when it comes to this shit internationally, you know what I'm saying, we global with this shit. So when it comes to this energy in a nutshell, we have to understand that. We have to understand we can't hide away. Even if you are insecure about something, the key to fixing those insecurities and to getting to a place where you can start to attract the things that's supposed to be in your life is by actually getting up again and challenging yourself to get back out there. You know what I'm saying? Challenging yourself to actually start to communicate again and put energy out into the world, you know. So we have to keep that in mind and not sabotage ourselves by allowing that emotional state that we still dealing with. Because remember, that whole new moon in Cancer, that was the flood. So it's a very vulnerable time. You know, it's a very vulnerable time for everybody. Everybody's highly sensitive. But one thing about that sensitivity, we can't let that become our prison. You know what I'm saying? We cannot let that become something that we, you know, don't have access to. Shout out to Mumu Good. I don't know. You said Muma. I don't know how to say it. Hopefully I'm not saying that wrong. I probably am. Greetings to you too. What's up? So when it comes to that, you know what I'm saying, it's like we have to make sure we're not getting too wrapped up in all those energies and becoming you know, prisoners based upon our own feelings, to where we can't break out and we can't connect, because that'd be the thing. You be so alone in the and that goes to my point with Libra opposite. He said that's right. Cool. That goes into that opposite energy between Libra and Aries. You know what I'm saying? That alone feeling that we feel when we feel isolated and we feel like our back's against the wall and we got to fight at any and everybody and we ain't got nobody in our corner. You know, sometimes we might have to trace that back to where we failed to communicate, where we failed to actually initiate forms of being relatable. You know what I'm saying? When you feel like, oh man, I got to do everything on my own. I got to do everything by myself. Nobody ever in my corner. So a lot of times that just be an exaggeration and somewhat of a delusion based upon you not having proper ways of communicating and conveying what you feel to be able to connect to others. And then again, if you know in your heart that you did what you were supposed to do and you opened yourself up when it was necessary, you communicated effectively, and people still not connecting with you, then that's when you understand, oh, okay, I do need to separate from these individuals because I'm simply not around the right individuals. I'm simply not in the right relationships. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you take that Aries energy and you say, okay, no, it's time to cut these motherfuckers off and be cool with being on my own, being myself, so I can attract who I'm supposed to be with. But when they come, I need to still be open enough to communicate and share myself and be vulnerable with them when it's time. You know what I'm saying? He said the day in a nutshell, for real. Right. Shout out to the Hang Empress. Yeah. So, you know, that's the whole thing. Like that's this whole period of time. Like this Cancer energy is so, like, Cancer is funny. Like, I'm a water sign, but goddamn, y'all Cancers, man, y'all, that this energy is so drawn out. It feel like sometimes, like, I don't know. I know Pisces probably ain't too better, but and no, none of them is better than the other one. It's just different modalities. You know what I'm saying? Different temperaments you got to have and different ways you got to play with the energies, and just the game that Cancer requires you to play. When the sun is in Cancer, when we're going through Cancer season, sometimes it just be feeling drawn the fuck out. It'd be like, yo, okay, we get it. You know what I'm saying? Why do I feel like this again? You know, okay, let me go do that work I got to do internally to get right. It's like all this back and forth shit. But, you know what I'm saying? I love all y'all, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. Some of y'all be tripping, but you know what I'm saying, it's all love at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But moving forward though, when we talk, so moon opposite Chiron, you know, in order to heal, we're gonna have to open ourselves up and communicate. You know, we're gonna have to make I don't want to say make your pain relatable, but you have to lighten what it is that's been hurting you up enough to be able to communicate it and for it to be able to travel, you know what I'm saying, so that you can have some form of balance made. You know, if you never speak up, if you never speak your piece, then you won't be matched with that energy either. You know what I'm saying? You won't ever find it. Even though we're supposed to create it for ourselves, but part of creating it for yourself is still to be in a space that you can offer it to others. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of the saying, speak your piece. You're supposed to create your own piece, but speak it so that it becomes a shared experience. Now, it's also, the moon is also conjunct the south node and oppose the north node. So we feel more comfortable connecting more to ourselves, you know, but we, again, use that conjunction with the south node, basically understanding our relationship with ourselves, right? It's like that's kind of what you want to do with the first part of this energy. Like, it's a two-step process with this time period. We have to do things privately with ourselves to ease what's on our heart, and once we develop that clarity and we get that emotional resolve within ourselves, then we have to extend it to the outside world so that we can start to be understood for how we felt. So our heart can travel. So our heart can, you know what I'm saying, we can use our heart. We can be connected to by making it clear what it is that's on our mind and what we have to say and what we have to offer. So with this two-part process, it's like, you know, even when it comes to the south node, you know, the south node is going to help bring a lot of clarity to, you know, what we feel in the first place. And with that clarity, and when we start to connect with that, then it's going to be like, and what I mean by clarity, the south node energies represent what we somewhat of what we did in a past life. Right now, collectively, when we talk about the South Node, this will be things in your life that you've experienced that represent past ways of going about things. You know what I'm saying? Things that hopefully you've mastered by this time, so that you don't have to go back to these things as a form of escapism. You can kind of look at these things as things you've been there, done that, and now you can use those to start to prepare yourself for new experiences, which is where where the North Node is. So as we're going through the North Node, those very uncomfortable moments, we have something that we can show for it. We have something that we can use to help us feel protected, or a skill or a tool that we can use to navigate those uncomfortable moments, those moments of not really knowing what's going on, and move forward. Shout out to C Main, you know what I'm saying? So we can actually use those things moving forward, you know, from that South Node space. So, you know, that's where the conjunction with the South Node that the moon in Libra is making can do to help what we're going through. You know, right now the sun itself is squaring the North Node. So on an emotional level, we are, and that's why it feels so intense. We are adapting and learning how to create the right emotional state to pursue, to continue to pursue our spiritual path. We're trying to, you know, every morning kind of feels like a fight, where we trying to just get in the right emotional state to be able to, like, oh, this is actually my past. I mean, this is actually my path, and I have to walk this shit. And it's like everything that's coming from the past is things kind of rooted in pleasures and ways that we used to relate to ourselves and others. We have to learn and develop, you know, better ways of doing these things. And again, remember where this energy started, because when earlier on, when we was talking about this Chiron and Aries energy, it was all about being yourself to separate from old relationships that represented sides of you that you no longer that you no longer embody. I'm no longer that person anymore. It makes sense for me to be myself and start to break away from those relationships that, again, represent parts of me that no longer exist. You know what I'm saying? Parts of me that no longer, you know what I'm saying? You said peace, Pisces sun, Cancer moon. Hey, what's up, man? Water gang in this motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? I'm a Pisces sun too. Shout out to y'all. So or shout out to you and the other, you know, people with similar alignments. But so when it comes to this energy, that's the main thing, you know what I'm saying? We have to keep that in mind. Right now is the battle between getting in the right emotional state and learning how to create that peace within ourselves, or learning how to create that within ourselves, so that moving into Leo, that what we initiated as an emotional state to be on our spiritual path and to do what we need to do is so rooted, it's so grounded, it's so it becomes something that we're so familiar with, that it becomes our new comfort zone. Because in that process of getting in the right vibe, it's that struggle, because again, you start from feeling not really in that powerful state. But if you change your emotional state, you know what I'm saying, it's a fight. But once you do it so many times, right, throughout this whole Cancer season, that'll be what you can now fixate yourself in. So as we move into Leo, it's going to be like, oh, I done did this so many times. I know how to create so much comfort in myself. I can show myself. I can stand on center stage. Think about the process of going on stage. You know, everybody will tell you, if they actor, actress, or some form of performer, going on stage, it's always nerve-wracking. But if you don't put yourself in that right state, like everybody who be on stage got somewhat of a ritual that they do in they changing room, or on the way to their performance and shit like that. They got a little process, a little ritual. Even people who play sports, y'all know, y'all be in the game room, got your music on, everything to put you in that vibration. That's what Cancer represents. And then when it's time to perform, boom, Leo here. And that's when we get up and we able to perform it at that maximum height. So this is what we're going through right now with the sun in Cancer. It's like we're doing all these different things, and we're using this new moon to start to practice, to put in practice, in motion, all of this energy to get to a space where we can say, okay, boom, I'm on my shit. I'm presenting myself like this. Boom. So, you know, keep that in mind, and that's why we got to keep the fight consistent. You know, we can't let too many bad days pass based upon us not getting in the right emotional state, us making the same mistakes when it comes to trying to initiate that emotion. We let doubt and things like that consume us. We let again, all that Pisces Saturn retrograde energy convince us that old habits is more important than what we want to develop as new intelligence, or just new experiences. We got to remember, like, no, this is why I'm restricting this feeling leads to this. I can't dabble in this illusion no more. You know what I'm saying? With all my false beliefs and stuff like that, these things are holding me back. And false beliefs looking like things like I'm not able to achieve this, or I don't know what to do in this space. You know, we have to talk to ourselves better entirely. And that's what the moon in Libra can really do, is like it can kind of help everybody talk to themselves better. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yo, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to moving forward, right? Let's get dark. So when it comes to moving forward into this, so yeah, talking about the moon alignment. So moon, let's just jump into moon in conjunct Saturn and Pisces retrograde. So misunderstanding how to feel, or how to feel about our relationship with reality. So right now we don't really know where we stand as far as reality goes. It's kind of like up in the air. Things are happening. We're trying to move as effectively as we can. We see what's going on, but still how we feel about it is so mixed up and intertwined in old ways, and what's comfortable, what's not comfortable, what we got to start getting comfortable with now. So, you know, with all these different forms and stuff like that, still moon in Libra, just simply, it really is all about lightening yourself up and being willing to communicate. You know, even if it's that that conversation is with yourself, because you might need to relate to yourself better. You know, give yourself grace in certain areas, or you might need to turn up on yourself and start talking to yourself like, hey, if we don't change this, everything is going to crumble. Hey, if we don't turn up and address this, everything is going to crumble. So if you need to have those real conversations with yourself, that very much needs to take place. And again, we had Virgo help dry up some of that emotion so that we can make better decisions. And remember, this is an air sign. So again, apply some logic to what it is that you feel before you just get engulfed in whatever feeling it is. Apply some logic. And again, this is a good time to tell somebody. Moon trining Jupiter in Gemini. Tell somebody what the fuck going on. You know what I'm saying? Because they might actually have something. They might not have all the answers, but they might have something that'll click in your mind and say, oh yeah, you right, and talk you right off a ledge. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And you can also talk yourself into $1 million if you have the right way of communicating how you feel. So if you're being honest and open about how you feel, and you've balanced it enough within yourself so it can make sense to others as a logical explanation, or a logical, you know, whatever it is, conversation that you start, this is the time to do it. You know, again, it's basically a gift you have to expand the conversation into something that can, again, expand different areas of your life based upon what it is you're trying to use that communication for. You know, Jupiter and Gemini, one thing I keep on saying that I keep, you know, I have to keep reminding y'all, Jupiter and Gemini, this is a time where a lot of people is getting famous for the dumbest shit. And it's kind of like, it's kind of jarring, you know. It's kind of scary, like, you know, even things like, you know, the recent people who got famous based upon little Instagram interviews on the street and shit like that. Like, the shit that people are trying to glorify as something to be known for, we're gonna see a lot of wacky stuff like that. Also wacky spiritual practitioners who rise to the top just kind of saying a bunch of bullshit, like saying things to make you feel good, but saying it in a way that sounds intelligent. Because Jupiter and Gemini right now, we got to remember, Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, you know what I'm saying, is in a space where it's like it's expanding, and everybody got something to say. It's going to sound like something that's expansive in a positive way, maybe even wise. But this, again, remember, Jupiter is not where it's supposed to be at. So what might sound wise, when you actually look behind it, it don't really be no real wisdom behind that. A lot of people can get famous off of just saying any and everything, you know. But believe that when this energy subsides and as we go into different transits, different things will be exposed. Like these different things that don't have no real substance to them, they're not actually going to keep traveling. Because that was part of the point of Jupiter and Taurus, was to develop value and something real behind what it is that you was finna communicate in Jupiter and Gemini. You know, he said wisdom in the space of curiosity. Right. That's really where wisdom is at. Just willing to be curious. Like, for instance, a person who got famous off of kicking bullshit, they might have started on to something good where they were just curious about the topic, and so it led to them getting put in a position to be able to, you know, tell others about it, and be the face of it, as far as the person who figured out that information and got the way to decipher it. But if they didn't actually take it far within their own life, and they just stopped at that initial curiosity, it's not gonna have no real value to it, and that's where things fall short. So even in your own life, if you got something that you're doing, this is the time where you really do need to study up on it and develop you know, solid understandings about what it is that you're trying to teach, or what you trying to talk about, or what you into. Because there's going to come a point in time where just talking real good about it ain't gonna be enough. It's gonna have to actually be, people gonna need to see results from it. People gonna actually have to believe that's what's actually happening. They're gonna have to see the track record of what you was doing to be able to trace the steps and say, oh, okay, this is wisdom. Versus people who get, again, that quick hit of fame, and then all of a sudden it's like, when it's time to actually show for it, it's like, man, this person ain't got no real talent. This person don't got no real charisma or intelligence that should be on this center stage. You'd be like, wait a minute, this ain't real. This ain't enough. And that's kind of what that Jupiter and Gemini energy is. But aside from that, trine in the moon in Libra, again, tell somebody what's going on, you know, or say what's on your heart, because you never know what that'll open up as a doorway, or, you know, anything in your life. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. So, you know, but the energy is in the favor of those who are willing to communicate. If you're too scared or too sensitive to communicate, you won't get to that space. Now the moon also is going to be, see, trine in Jupiter is in conjunct, on the other end, the Taurus energies, in conjunct Uranus and Mars. So misunderstanding what to how to relate to your passions, or how to relate to the passions of others. This might not be a bad thing, because, you know, Mars is about passion and aggression, and the moon right now is more so about trying, you know, the moon in Libra is about trying to get balance, trying to get understanding, and trying to communicate. So, you know, it's kind of, you know, this misunderstanding, though, you might have a hard time trying to relate what you're passionate about, but it'll help you not be so angry or overly aggressive in trying to get your point across, because everybody gonna be trying to talk about how they feel. So when you're speaking on how you feel, if you come too hot, if you come too aggressive, it might not connect the right way. It might rub people the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? You might say the wrong things because you're so focused and fixated on your own passion that you don't realize when you're ruffling feathers and stuff like that. So, you know, this might be more positive than negative, but still we might have a little difficulty trying to relate to our passions, and we might not even feel motivated to do what we're passionate about. You know, that might be a little bit of a difficult situation, but, you know, all things pass, so just let it go. You know, Mars is going through a transformation right now, a lot of changes. Also, that's the moon in conjunct Uranus too, feeling misunderstanding how to feel about the changes, or how to relate to the changes that we're making. So life is changing, we're going through changes, we don't know how to relate to these things, or we don't know where to take it. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how to even kind of talk to ourselves anymore, because we're becoming somebody new, you know. And what we're, you know, you just want to make sure you're directing that change towards positive things. You're being more of who you always were and who you were meant to be, versus turning more into a augmented version of who you really are, based upon trauma, insecurity, and things you're not mature or strong or aware enough to adjust in your own life. You know, sometimes, I mean, it'd be a simple thing if you just not aware of an issue that you have. You know, you keep going through a certain reaction that you get from others, and you keep seeing a pattern of a problem, and people might be presenting a problem to you. A lot of what people present to you as a problem with your character sometimes don't actually be the very thing, but it be still a call for you to go within yourself to see, okay, wait, there must be something that I'm missing. There must be something that I'm not quite, you know, seeing for myself. So that calls for you to do some reflection and figure it out. But at the end of the day, you know, your subconscious awareness, your ability to see these things and understand your own trauma, that is really where things kind of, you know, if you're not aware of it, it's hard for you to change. You can't change something you're not aware of. First step about it is being aware of it. But you know, that's a different conversation. You know, right now we just have to be aware of that. Like, we're going through those changes, and it might just be difficult right now to relate to yourself. But you know, trust that you know, if you direct the change towards actually getting to a better mental state and dealing with yourself better, then you know you on the right track. You know, keep in mind, anything that's helping you do more connecting is 9 times out of 10 probably more positive, on the positive end. Things that convince you to be isolated and separate and lash out, those are things that you gotta start to see. Maybe 9 times out of 10 is negative. You know, things that's keeping me away from trying to develop relationships with others, things that's keeping me away from, you know, even if you decide, hey, I'm gonna take a break from dating right now and get myself right, the point is you're trying to make yourself better so that you can have healthier relationships. You know, that's still trying to get you to connect to others, versus a person who'd be like, you know what, I hate all men or I hate all women, and I'm gonna go on this one-sided rant of saying fuck all them, they all, you know, ain't shit, but I'ma still, you know, I'ma still go on dates and stuff like that. But in my back of my mind, I'm like, no, I don't like them, and fuck them. See, that's what the societal culture is right now, where, you know, that's the main psyop right now, or one of the psyops. It got everybody under that spell where nobody want to face themselves, but everybody don't want to be lonely. They can't stand themselves. Nobody want to face themselves, but they can't stand being alone. So it's like, if you know, don't want to face yourself, but you can't stand being alone, it's going to cause you to just cause havoc in other people's life. You're going to create, you know, you just going to jump from that person to that person to that person, passing down your problems. And again, hurt people. And so that's a cycle. If I'm hurt and I hurt you, now you hurt me. If we leave, we going to do the same thing to others, and they going to leave and do this, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's become the pattern. And amongst all this, people having kids, you know what I'm saying? It's fucked up. But you know, what we're trying to get to is a space where we all can, you know, grow and develop better ways of dealing with with ourselves and others. And that's what this moon in Libra really is. It's like relationships, you know, balance. How do we create balance? Oh, I have to speak up about how I feel, so that that's the first step to becoming aware. So the other person is now aware of what's going on in my subconscious space. And then now we have something that we can utilize as a bridge to now create more understanding, balance within each other. I can help you, you can help me. I can go to your very intimate space, you can go to my very intimate space. That's why Libra leads right into Scorpio. Without that bridge, I can't get to behind closed doors with you. You can't get to behind closed doors with me. And a lot of times that's where intimacy is developed. And from that intimacy, now we can develop better ways to expand in whatever it is that we both trying to do. From that expansion, now we have something to stand on. From that new overstanding, we now have many different overstandings that we can start to associate with, that become a community, whether within yourself as thoughts and feelings that you can relate to and associate with, or actual physical individuals who share similar ways of thinking and feeling, that we can now be a community, support each other in physical ways in the real world. And then now teamwork can make the dream work. You know what I'm saying? Just going from those energies on. You know, that's how everything permeates. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to another. We have to understand the process of progression. And that's the whole reason why we track the moon cycles and we understand astrology, the point of it all. You know what I'm saying? It's still a tool, but it's one of the most effective tools for this kind of work. You know what I'm saying, that we're talking about. This is real work. So when we talk about the moon in Libra, also, so we talked about the in conjunction with the Earth energies or Taurus energies. The moon is also, so we talked about Aries, we talked about Taurus, we talked about Gemini, what's left. So Venus is moving into Leo. So when it comes to the way we love and appreciate, that's going to have to start to become something that we start to put on center stage. If you're entertaining the same old habits, you're going to start to see the same old results. You know what I'm saying? We have to set the stage for what we love and appreciate and value. And if you didn't kind of clean that up during the previous, like I was saying, Venus and Cancer transit, where we started to clean up some of those those habits that we have and some of those things that we love, appreciate, and value, we might go overboard with it, or it might be something that we might not want on center stage. Like, you don't really want to be seen for that habit. You don't want to be seen for that thing that you overindulging in. And we can start to see the effects on people who didn't kind of switch up their routine and pattern, maybe got too attached to certain things, you know. So you want to be mindful of that. But on the other end, you know, this is a good time to express what you love. People want to see that from you right now, and you should want to see that from yourself. So hopefully you have something of value to offer, you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna make a separate vlog talking about Venus and Leo, but for the most part, you know, it's gonna make that square to Mars and Uranus. So that's, again, all about value behind what it is that we're putting on center stage. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure you have something on that stage that's actually going to be right for you. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Joel? So you want to make sure you have something on that stage that's actually gonna be meant to be on that stage, not just a bunch of stuff that look like, well, why are you so invested into that? Why you keep loving and appreciating, overindulging in this shit? He said doing a night shift. I said, yep, I'm about to clock in. You already know the drill. You know what I'm saying? So I'm about to wrap this up. But yeah, so for the most part, that's what's going on with that. You know, Venus going into Leo, again, a lot of good support right now. The relationships that you did build, and that you the relationships that you were tending to, these things have the potential to be very good support for you at the moment. You know, with Leo being there, it'll start to be something that's now expressed and shared. And you say, yes, because most of the time it's not my problems fighting in the shadows. Most of the time that's not my problem, fighting in the shadows. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He said balance is crucial. Yep, balance is crucial. You know, that for the most part is kind of the main thing. I don't really, yes, because I don't know what part you saying that to. Yes, because most of the time it's not my problem fighting in the shadows. Unless you're talking about other people, like when other people bring in issues to you. Shout out to the herbal goddess. Peace to you too. Yeah. You know, and that's the big thing too with this energy that is important. Like Capricorn, I'm not Capricorn, but Libra, like one of the positive things, like I was saying, that relationship it does have with the 8th house or Scorpio energy and going into that form, it's like, you know, people, or even understanding Cancer energy to a T, is like the issue a lot of times is people be having so many things in a subconscious world that alters who they are. And when you're getting to know somebody, you're going through all these different filters trying to pinpoint who the real person is. You know what I'm saying? And 98% of arguments and problems start based just upon misunderstanding and miscommunication, because a person is still either unaware of subconsciously what they're using as a mask. Same thing we was even talking about the other day. You said, yeah, other people's energy. Yeah. Same thing we was talking about the other day with ego and shit like that, where ego goes wrong, where the ego and the heart or the soul is not in alignment. You know what I'm saying? He said Cancer season 7777. Yep. All that shit. 717 conference. This Saturday is going down. But yeah, when it comes to that shit, it's like, so people be walking around with all this subconscious guck, and it fucks up who they're presenting themselves as. Their ego starts to take over. Now they want to be seen as something other than what they've done the work to be. And so that's where the discrepancy comes. And when those people come across a person who is who they are, jealousy, envy, all these different, they start getting attacked by what they're not doing. You know what I'm saying? When they go home and they don't got nobody to talk to, their anxiety starts to go overboard, and they start to become a problem to themselves. Like I said, people who don't want to be with themselves, who can't face themselves, and don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying? And the reason they don't want to be alone is because they don't want to face themselves. So what they do, get in somebody else's face with all their problems and start to depend on people. And when people don't live up to the expectation, because nobody is you. You are the only you. So you got to understand 98% of the problems that you have that's personal are going to be things only you can solve. Only you can make yourself happy. Only you can make yourself feel motivated. Only you can help yourself feel appreciated and only you can reassure yourself at times, you know what I'm saying, for certain things. So it's like, but so many people put this on the shoulders of somebody else based upon their own insecurities and what they're feeling like they're incapable of. So, you know, that again continues a cycle of now they toxic to you. You know, they're acting in ways simply because they're not aware of what's going on in their own subconscious world. And Cancer season, like, one of the most beautiful things about Cancer season is it brings all of that out, all the insecurities out, all of the, you know what I'm saying, those energies that just brings them out, and you're forced to you're forced to deal with it, you're forced to manage it, and it brings it out in others, which can be, you know, very intense, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying, that's some powerful energy if you are willing to be accountable and willing to step into that power and shit and like be like, yo, let's do it, you know what I'm saying, real shit, you know what I'm saying. So when it comes to, you know, closing out this energy, Moon and Libra going into, yeah, we talked about Gemini, Cancer, Venus going into Leo. What else? Where's Mercury at? Mercury is Mercury in Leo already? I think Mercury is in Leo. Yeah. So with Mercury and Leo, that's a sextile with the moon in Libra. So again, opportunities to express through communication what we feel, and we have a charismatic way to do it. You know what I'm saying? So along with this square, at least we have a charismatic way to get what our thoughts across. But on the other end, this could be an exaggeration of what you think you are, and you kind of maybe even speaking a little too much. Like you might try not to over exaggerate it, like try not to over promise things with your communication. And also when people are telling you stories and people are like, for instance, you might get a job offer and a person talking real good in your ear about everything that might come with it. Try not to get too giddy off of what somebody telling you at the moment, because that's the thing about Leo too. Very big exaggeration, big expression, but if the delivery not behind it or the execution not behind it, it leads everybody to be very disappointed, frustrated, and you know, saying you don't want to lead people on that way, and you don't want to be led on that way. So you have to be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? You said the cat kingdom goes beyond Leo. Yeah, all the cats. What they say about, they were saying house cats are related to or because of their eyes, they're the only cat that has reptilian eyes and shit like that. Real shit. Tiger, jaguar, all that, panther. Yeah. But you know, so when it comes to that energy, she said take the L. I don't know what she said. So that's fine. She said facts. Yep. So when it comes to yeah, this energy sextiling, the moon sextiling Mercury, the moon and what, you know, what we think and what we feel have the opportunity to be on the same page. You know what I'm saying? They have the opportunity to be something now. Okay, yeah, with this way of communicating how I feel, I'm very, you know, I got the expression, I got the charisma behind it. So, you know, you can use that to your advantage too. So keep that in mind. We supposed to be speaking up at the moment, and you know, even better if you got something to say that's positive and able to uplift others, or something that's able to put good energy into the world. You know what I'm saying? I'm an advocate for that. You know, if you got something good to say, for instance, form a support for somebody else that you see doing something that you connect with, that's always a beautiful thing to put out into the world. And right now with Venus going into Leo, that's the type of things that we need to be seeing. Open support, you know, expressing support for things that, you know, that are worthy of it. You know what I'm saying? So if you see something that is good from somebody you know in your circle, shout them out, you know what I'm saying, or acknowledge it, because that'll be good energy that you just put down into the world to get back to you. And again, not looking at it as expecting to get something back, but doing it because you truly resonate with it. But you know, you would be surprised who just be needing to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? People just be needing to hear that shit, you know. He said time is currency, right? You know what I'm saying? I stand on that hill, I die on that hill. When it comes to time is not no fucking illusion. Time is very real. It's literally your currency. It's what you spend. So, you know, again, keep thinking time is an illusion, you gonna find yourself spiritually bankrupt. He said shout out to the 717 conference for sure, going down this weekend. I sent out emails to everybody who purchased the ticket. So if you haven't gotten an email from me and you know you purchased the ticket, email me as soon as possible. Mac Dank, if you watching this, I need you to send me your email, bro. Just or send me an email at 717conference.info@gmail.com. Tickets still going on sale to the very last, to the day of. So even if you want to just pull up the day of and pay there, you know, you're welcome to do that. What else? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Come kick it with us. You know, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be real dope. The second annual, honestly, there's so many ways we already seeing that we want to expand this shit. So, you know, but I'm ready to have the event, man. I'm ready to kick it with y'all. Shout out to everybody who's coming through, performing. And thank you for everybody who just been a support. You know what I'm saying? Even if you couldn't show up this time, I appreciate the support, because it really ain't shit without y'all. The conference is going down in Atlanta. So if you in the Atlanta area, not too far from the airport, it's going to be in that area. I can email. So with the purchase of the ticket, I'm emailing everybody with the actual venue location. But if you go on Instagram, on my Instagram, DaveBeyondTV, it's on the flyers, or the Instagram 717 conference. It's on the flyers. You said, I'm so disappointed to miss it. Damn, Mars and Taurus, keeping my head down on that one too. Yeah. Hey, we miss you too, but I'm glad you was able to come through to the pop-up. And, you know, next year, we gonna figure some things out. You know, we all gonna be in a better position, you know what I'm saying, so that we can all connect. And but that's the whole thing though. We doing this, like, we keeping this going as long as we can. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, see, I wish I could be there too. Yeah, we wish, man. Look, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. He said, I'm a Libra. Is that good? I don't know. That's up to you. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Primitive anxiety. Shoot, from the name, it seemed like, you know, you be anxious and shit, which is not always a great energy to be in. But, you know, it's up to you whether or not you good, or that energy is good to you. It's about how you use it. So you have the potential for it to be good, but you have just as much as the potential for it to be bad and negative. So, you know, hopefully you tapping in and you know, doing what you meant to do in life. But anyway, not to drag this on, appreciate all y'all for coming through. I believe that's everything. Oh, last thing, Moon in Libra squaring Pluto, and it's like trine square, you know what I'm saying? Pluto is like right on that cusp. So when it comes to Libra, the Moon in Libra with that kind of Pluto trine square, we have to communicate in a way in which of us being who we want to be, you know what I'm saying, being who we are, being the new version of us. We have to speak, we have to start to relate to ourselves as the transformed version of who we are, in a sense. You said, absolutely, we're gonna keep on keeping on, so we have it on lock next time. Exactly, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole point, that one too. But what I mean by what I'm saying, right, the moon's position in relation to Pluto is all about that transformation. The full moon is going to be on that cusp. So think about it like this. The moon, current moon in Libra, you're learning how to speak the language of this new version of yourself, this transformed version of yourself. And that comes with, again, the adjustments you've made to certain habits you've been involved in, and the main thing, the emotional state you in. So be very mindful of how you communicate within certain emotional states, and how you can maybe you know, modify it to where you do more, you know, even if you are, let's say you in a very negative emotional state, you still are able to communicate in the version of you that you want to feel, you know, communicate as the part of yourself that you want to speak from, and not just doing things based upon, again, more so an insecurity or a lack of an emotional security, a lack of emotional safety, because that'd be a lot of things too. You know, we don't feel safe emotionally, and so we lash out, or we speak or portray ourselves in ways to make ourselves to give us maybe you know, to make ourselves look bigger, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, like Joel's saying, trust myself. You know, when you have that confidence for yourself, and you're confident, and you really connect to that part of yourself, you really do trust yourself, you won't have to pretend to be nothing. You know, everything you are is who you always were. So it's like, it's coming from such an honest place. You'll be surprised how much respect you get just by being yourself in that regard, versus the person who gotta rely on ego to puff themselves up. And again, they become the loudest person in the room that you recognize as the weakest. They become the, you know, the person in your face talk about how much money they got, but then you could just see through it and know that person broke as hell. Like, man, I know you broke as fuck. Please get out my face. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to buff yourself up and you not, there's nothing real behind it. So always keep that in mind. So with the moon in Libra, we have to learn that language. You know what I'm saying? We have to develop that intellect to be able to be, you know, it's like emotional intelligence, truly. You know what I'm saying? How do we get to a more emotionally intelligent part of ourselves? And it takes part of, you know, having that balance and being able to separate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. So it takes you having to kind of go through that and get yourself to a point where, you know, again, what's coming from you is authenticity, it's genuine, and it's actually bringing balance to not only your life, but you able to now be in a position where other people can relate to you and you uplift them, not even, you know, having to do it specifically to them and, you know, waste, you know, you don't have to hold nobody hand. You know, you just become a vessel for God. You become that representation. You become it's like you that vessel. So, you know, you do God's work by just being yourself. That's where religion got it wrong. You know what I'm saying? They got you trying to do God's work in the image of somebody's worldview. You're not even doing God's work. You're doing their bidding, their God's bidding. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of y'all are very unsatisfied in y'all religions, and y'all realize that shit ain't taking you nowhere. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we gonna leave it on that. You know what I'm saying? Much love. I'll see y'all this weekend at the 717 conference. Keep living life. Keep doing you. Keep being yourself. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.